that has put this together. It's awesome. It's amazing having to, teach, pass skill across to people. And even me, I've taken part in the classes and I've learned quite a number of things. Okay, so let's just jump right into what we have for today. So we're going to be looking at the key principles of design. I know we've done quite a number of things before, which I would like you to hold on to, because as we are progressing with key principles of design, you need the things that you have learned. I know you've learned about line, shapes, form, line, shape, form. You've learned about texture, typography, contrast, color. You've learned a number of things, which key principles of design will help sharpen how you will be using those things. So before we go into the content of the class, we had a pre-class task, which I know some of us have been able to do, and if we've not been able to do, let's just try, if it's possible, to send our designs in. I gave elements for designs and I gave content, so I wanted us to just try our hands on designs. Let's see what you can do with the things that you have learned. And some of us have been designing before. Let's see how you come up with designs creatively. So if you've not done that, just try to do. But at the end of this class, we are going to be seeing why I said we should do this, because we are still going to redo this task again after we have learned some of the new things we'll be adding to what we've learned today. Maybe not new things like that per se, but things that we'll deliberately infuse into the designs we'll be doing. So that's that for the pre-class. I believe we still have all the elements and the content. So I'll just go straight into the class. So the first thing I'll be talking about is balance. So balance is a very, very important part of a design or an artwork. It's simply defined as the visual weight of elements balanced with each other on both sides of a design. So let's say we look at these two designs that I've shared now, design A and design B, or maybe we can call it specimen A and specimen B. But both of the designs, we can see that our artboard, that's the yellow part that you can see around the design, this yellow part, our artboard is imaginarily divided into two. Let's say we split it into two. If we look at the first design, we see it is not balanced because there is more weight on one side than the other side. So when you are designing, you should have an imaginary scale in your mind when looking at your artboard. Now it's this design A says, "Let love rule your heart," and both the text and the visual element, that's the love petal element, clip art. The love petal clip art is they are both aligned to the right and leaving a lot of space on the left hand side of the canvas or the artboard, making it look one-sided. So we should have an imaginary balance scale for balance on our minds, or in our minds as we design. Now the balance is not just only for left and right, it can also be up and down. So your design cannot just be focused on the top part of your canvas or your artboard. It should span through all areas. It should span through all areas of. Now it doesn't mean that you now feel everywhere. As you can see, design B is what is balanced. It doesn't mean that everywhere is full, that the whole canvas is full, but from what you are saying, you can see that there is a proportion of design, weighing on both sides. Actually, weighing on both sides, and it makes the design look balanced. I'm deliberately not using, generally we used to have elements like maybe circles, shapes showing balance, which is also very good. But I'm using practical designs that we do generally, so we can be able to easily relate with it. So this is an example of a balanced design, design B. So that's what balance is about. Making sure that you don't have too much elements of design on one part of the canvas while the other part is blank or empty. That's balance. So let's move to alignment. Alignment is something that you've been taught. Alignment talks about the placement of visual elements so they line up in an organized order. In very simple way, you see this live love. Let love rule your heart. That's on design A. You see that it is well aligned to the left. Many times we have been taught, but I feel it is not bad if I re-say it, that the most powerful alignment when you have a body of text is left alignment. You align to the left because the eyes read ordinarily from left to right. So it's good when you align body of text to the left. It's more powerful and it's more clear. It's clearer that way. Now we look at the other one. It's not just about the left alignment right now, but more about how it is aligned with the live love. That's the second text. If you look at the second example, that's B. I have live love and I have let love rule your heart. And you can see how my let love rule your heart has a center alignment, while my live love is tilted or is aligned to the left, more to the left. Somehow it shows that my design is hit and miss. It is scattered in some way, scattered. So you should have alignment in mind when designing. Make sure you have your grid lines in your mind, and make sure that there are ways Canva helps in guiding your alignment. Actually, if you have used Canva and if you're able to do the task, you would have interacted with Canva to some extent, and you see that it will guide you to show you lines where you are aligning your text in the right place. Sometimes it will align it for you, not like it will shift it for you, but it will give you the boundaries. So have alignments in mind. Make sure you have things aligned properly, and not that you put too many elements in a design or many elements in a design and they don't have a particular well-organized order in which they are arranged. There should be order in which they are arranged, and those orders should be in relationship. Another thing about alignment is let texts that go together be together. Information that ought to be together, let them be together, well aligned, alike. Okay, I moved to typography. We've done typography already, so I'm just going to touch on it a little. Typography is the art of arranging a message via text in a readable manner creatively. Now for typography, I'm going to emphasize on in a readable manner creatively. Now let's look at the two examples I've given. A and B. The design A says live love, let love rule your heart. Through it and it only can you attain complete perfection. My body text is a sans serif font. My heading is a serif font, and for B, my body text is a sans serif font, while my body rather is a serif font, while my heading is a sans serif font. And as you can see from B, the body text is not so clear. It may look fine, maybe because of the kind of text, but it's not as clear as my sans serif font, which I use here. So later on, we are still going to be doing some other topics where I will be sharing with us some font types that we can use beyond font types, a couple of other things which we'll talk about later. But for now, know that when you're doing things that should be shown on the screen. Sans serif fonts look better and clearer, especially for body text when you are doing something that will be displayed on the screen. Yes, while for things that would be printed, sans serifs are good, but it doesn't mean serifs are also bad. Serifs are actually very good for printing too. So you've done more about typography, I believe, yesterday. So I know all these things, you're very familiar with them. So I'm just saying that when choosing fonts, choose fonts that will make your work readable. Not just readable, clear. And at the same time, opposites match. You don't eat rice and rice. You don't eat rice and bread. You probably will eat rice and beans. You eat rice and beef, meat. You would eat beans and bread. So different kinds of texts also go together. That's why I deliberately used a sans serif and a serif both in one design. And you see that they go together, even though it's also good for you to use one font. I know you've been taught on that one. So I'll just leave that. So typography, very, very important principle of design. And it's something that you must understand. You must understand not just because you want your designs to be nice, but because you want to communicate well to people. And you almost cannot do without typography when creating designs. Okay, then we move to pattern. So pattern just simply means repetition. Repetition of elements. Repetition of more than one design element to form a whole. So it's a pattern because when you put different elements together and it forms one artwork or one, let's say, clip art or element, that's a pattern. Like as you can see, the this zigzag or triangular, whichever one pattern that is on this leave love, that's B. It's a pattern. And also the design, that's the pattern above leave love in A, that's also a pattern. The one with multiple colors, or about 2 colors, different shades of the colors. So that's for pattern. And it's also good we know how to use patterns in our designs. They bring uniqueness. Sometimes when we're doing African designs, they bring African feel to your design. Yes, actually they do. Then they also make blank spaces sometimes look nice. Yes. So let's move to the next one, which is contrast. Contrast, this is very, very important. Now, contrast is not just for colors, but I've majorly dwelled on colors here. Not just color though, I also used size. Contrast just talks about the visible difference in properties of the design elements. Now, in your designs, contrasts are so important. You must practice and perfect contrasts in designs if you do well with designing, because contrast helps you to know how to create good hierarchy. We'll still get to hierarchy. Helps you to know how to create good hierarchy in your design. Contrasts help your design to have life. Contrast helps your design to be direct, to communicate. Now you see option A, leave love. There's a way that text leave love is vibrating or is not clear, even though it is a bold font, long, everything. But the kind of color I have red on underline under a purple background, then I have a green text. Everything, they are not showing well. All the display of the background with the text is not showing well. There's a way it is shaking in my eyes because the contrast is bad contrast. So the text is not clear. Even the arts, that's the heart-shaped petals, they're not clear too. But looking at B, even though it's very simple, just a white background, white and black are very contrasting colors. That's why when you do colors, I believe you've done that already. On your color wheel, you do analogous colors many times. That's color from one end of the color wheel to the other end of the color wheel. So you do contrasting designs, contrasting colors rather, not contrasting designs, contrasting colors. Colors that when you put them on one another, one pops out. One, is not dull. One is not dull, one is bright. The other one may be dull. So I'm just saying the second one gives good contrast because I used black on a white background. Very simple. There are other ones, like for instance, all the designs I have shown from beginning, there are elements of contrast in all of them, as you can see, because the contents are all very visible. When you look at it, okay, the topic is typography. It's contrast that makes that's the topic here, typography. It's contrast that makes the topic here typography, because I've made typography different. If I come to the contrast page, contrast makes contrast here the topic because contrast is different from all the other elements in the design. You understand? So that's for contrast, and something we must master is the difference. So when you are doing designs, you pick what you want to catch people's attention, or you pick the most important thing and you make it different. You are contrasting it from other elements. That's contrast. But when you're making it different, you now have to do that creatively, in a manner in which it doesn't become a problem, or in a manner in which it does not, destroy the beauty of the design, or in a manner which it is not now clear. It's not a clear communication, or it doesn't give clear communication to your viewer. So that's what contrast is. Let's move to unity. Now, these designs, I deliberately use this kind of designs to explain unity, because unity simply means the relationship between different elements in a design. So I could have, let's look at design A. Design A says one step at a time. Now, there's a way this text was infused into this design, in the sense that it only looks like the picture of a living room. Like this is a picture of a living room where you have wall frames and the text are sitting in the wall frames, making the entire design looking like one, like a whole, different from this and the other designs I've shown previous times. Makes design look one. There's also variety, but we are going to be discussing variety later. But this is unity. Unity talks about how you make elements of a design intertwined. You unify them, blend them into one another. So that is for unity. You see this home also, making the home sit on the chair makes the home blend into the living room. That makes that text home blend into the living room, making it one. So I'm creating a relationship between the home and the living room, just for the sake of unity. You understand? So that's unity. That's unity. Then we have emphasis. Emphasis simply means making something call attention. As you can see, is the part of the design that catches the viewer's attention. Now when you're reading design B, let love rule your heart through it rather, and it alone or only can you attain complete perfection. If you're reading it from A, you see let love rule your heart. Even before you begin to read that let love, you've already seen heart. Why? Because number one, the font is the bold part of the typeface that was used, and number two, the color is red. I have put attention on it. I've called attention by emphasizing that heart. These are things that many times when we are designing, we don't actively, employ these principles. If we actively employ these principles, honestly, we'll come up with very creative designs. They're very simple, actually, and that's why we're looking at them. Okay, so let's come to hierarchy. Now, hierarchy here says that it is the organization of design elements to guide the eyes of the viewer in the order of intended importance. So what hierarchy simply means here is that hierarchy, in a simpler form, the manner in which you arrange the elements of your designs according to the order of importance. So, like this design that is here now, first thing I would want my viewer to see is my unique element, which is this woman with a bogus African hair tie with a nice earrings and the face painting. So the picture is a picture that is most likely attractive. It will most likely call our attention. So immediately that picture brings your attention. The next thing you look at is hello. Before you now learn the culture of creative ideas. Now, through hierarchy, I have directed the eyes of my viewer. Now, if you design without having hierarchy in mind, most of the time you come out, producing a jam-packed design, a design that has too many elements everywhere, or a design without proper contrast. Because what is making all my elements stand out or come up where they are important is because I have employed the use of contrast. Contrast is what made my intriguing element, which is the woman, different from the hello, different from the learn the culture of creative ideas. Through contrast, I built hierarchy. Do you understand? So one of the reasons why I also gave us the task is because I want us to, understand and employ hierarchy. So after this, we are going to be going to the task. So we are going to now be redoing the task. If you've done it before, congratulations. Now, based on everything we have looked at, a quick review of everything from the beginning. We started with balance, from balance size, making sure that your design is well balanced on both sides. We did alignment, which you've done before. We did typography, making sure you choose the right typeface, choosing the right font from the typeface. We did pattern, which is something that will, make your design look nice. And using it creatively, I mentioned it brings a very good African feel, makes some blank spaces look, unique. Patterns, contrasts, that's making your elements different but at the same time unified, which is why unity is the next. So through contrast, you are making your elements different, but you are also building one design in total. Then we have unity, which I've explained as the relationship between different elements in a design. Then we have emphasis, which is when you are laying emphasis by maybe enlarging or changing the color, or making one element in the design unique, just for the sake of calling the attention of the viewer. Then we have hierarchy, which I've explained from head to toe of this design, this example here. So these are the principles I'm going to be sharing with us tonight, and we're still going to be having more though, but that will be coming up in the next class, which I'm going to be taking. So I want us to take our time to look at this very simple slides. Are very simple. I'll also be sharing the slides with us. Just look at these slides, take our time to check out the importance of each of these principles that I've shared. Let's employ them in the designs we'll be doing. Like now, we are going to be redoing our task, and I'm going to be showing us my own examples. Then we'll be redoing our own. Then you compare them with what you have done if you did the task. Yeah. So I'll show us my own examples. Then you redo the task, employing everything we have talked about today. So you redo it. Now after you redo it, you can send it to the group so we can check and see the amazing work you would have done. So for me, when I was doing the task, these are the things that I came up with. When you are giving such content, you don't have to, arrange according to exactly how the content is. That's what I was telling us, just feel free. If you want to bring in more elements, mine, I used exactly everything here are the things I gave us. I gave us this car. I said you should use it. So you can see the car, take me home. Take me home is one part of the content. And my own catchy part is Jesus take the wheel. If I say Jesus take the wheel, of course I'm saying Jesus come and drive. I can't do it on my own. Every time I consider the strength of man, I end up realizing it fails. Then on the car, I put a flag and I said, take me home. So as you can see, I've employed balance. I didn't want to put elements on just one side. That's why I centered everything in the center of the design. So it's not, waving to one side. I put balance. So I had my scale in mind. I put pattern. You can see the texture rather behind repetition of an element. It's a kind of pattern actually. So you can see it's the texture showing all around the design. I'm talking about design B actually. It's design B I'm referring to. Then you can see the text contrast. See the size of Jesus, because that's what I want to call your attention with. Then take the wheel. So ordinarily when you look at this design, you first see Jesus, you see take the wheel, you see the picture of the car, you see the take me home, then you now read I can't do it on my own. Every time I consider the strength of man, I end up realizing it fails. That's for design B. For design A, I didn't use Jesus take the wheels this time. I used the strength of man fails. So because of the color red, I believe when you're doing colors or color, you must have come across the importance of the color red, or the strength, or the loudness of red. Red is a very loud color, so I used red in that to call attention, because I'm saying fail. Fail seems like a bad thing, and I'm saying the strength of man fails. Red. So that red is to call our attention. Then I put the car, because the car is, I use this car because it is old, worn out, and all. It's not even running. So I use this Jesus take the wheel. You can see this car is speeding in B. It's running from the way it looks. So my concept is that Jesus has already taken the wheel from this car and the car is running. While this other one, the car is looking old, it's just a sketch. But from even the sketch, you can see that the car is worn out. So it's showing that this car has failed. Then I'm now saying, Jesus take the wheel. Then I say I can't do this on my own. Every time I consider the strength of man, I end up realizing it fails. So on this note, we have come to the end of the class, and I want to believe that one or two things have been added to your knowledge from the little things that have been shared. Yeah. So thank you very much for taking our time to join the class. We are going to be expecting your designs. That's the designs you're going to be sharing after you've employed all the principles that you have learned: balance, unity, emphasis, contrast, hierarchy, typography, everything that you've learned so far. You employ them and do your design, redo the design with the same elements that I shared, with the same content, and let's see what you come up with. So thank you so much everyone for the time, and I hope you have a beautiful night.